I'm Aaron Barnhart with Westfield Bank. I lead the retail side of Westfield Bank. That's our branches, and we're super excited that we're going to be putting a branch here in Wadsworth. Look for that at the beginning of 2026. Also serve as the Vice President on the Chamber, and it's an honor and privilege to do that. We are welcoming 2 new members today, so first and foremost, I'd like to welcome David Arbogast with Medina County Historical Society to come up, if he's here. David, come on up, say a few words. I'll share the mic with you, come on up. Is he passed? Oh, there we go, we got him.
Is that why you said only one?
Right.
Oh. Well, welcome. I'm glad to be part of the chamber, and I was just sitting back with the Wadsworth Historical Society, and he made a very good statement. And that statement was, which I'm relatively new, last several years, I'm the treasurer, we are the Medina County Historical Society, except unfortunately, both of our museums sit in Medina City. So my goal, and one of the reasons why I joined the chamber, or our group, was that we want to push out that mission that yes, we are the Medina County Historical Society, and we want to partner with there's 17 historical societies in Medina County. So we have a lot of little ones that I guess we'd say we're the biggest. We have some big plans. We're in the process right now of trying to raise $1.2 million. We're about a little over halfway there to build a history center. How many of you have ever been to either one of our museums, John Smart House or the McDowell Phillips House? Okay. I'll also put a pitch, is that the current one at the McDowell Phillips House was a bridal gown. It has bridal gowns from the 1800s all the way up to the mid-60s. That display will be taken down towards the end of August. It's a really cool thing, a lot of work went into it, and you also get a commemorative booklet. We have a local artist that drew every one of the 25 gowns in that book. So again, it's a pleasure to join the chamber, and my goal is to outreach both to the south, Wadsworth, and to the north, Brunswick, and far beyond. So it's been a pleasure to be part of your organization.
David, welcome.
Thank you.
All right, I'd also like to welcome aboard as a new member, Stephanie Samples, Keller Williams Realty. Is Stephanie here today? All right, come on up, Stephanie.
Hello, my name is Stephanie Staples, and I am a realtor in the area. I'm not new to the area. I'm actually licensed in Arizona and Ohio. We just moved back here due to family obligations, and I've lived in Wadsworth before and just wanted to get more ingrained in the community and just be able to support and find out wonderful things about Wadsworth.
Well, welcome, Stephanie.
Thank you.
I'm sorry I mispronounced your last name, but I'm a banker. Be happy to help welcome you to the community.
Thank you.
Okay, any other guests that would like to give a quick introduction? No takers? No takers? All right, I'll move on to some announcements. We have some exciting upcoming events. So we want to invite all of our membership to welcome the Sweets on High at Sugar Social, and we'll say that fast 3 times. They're hosting a ribbon cutting ceremony tomorrow at 5 p.m. and they're located at 197 Great Oaks Trail. It's Wadsworth's original dirty soda fountain and candy shop. That sounds fun. Specializing in tasty, fun beverages, freeze-dried, nostalgic, and specialty candies. So make sure to check that out tomorrow, 5 p.m. Wadsworth Amateur Soccer Association recently made a significant investment in player safety by purchasing 3 automated external defibrillators. Very cool. I can know from being in banking, those are expensive. It's really cool that they're making that investment in the kids. For the soccer fields at Mull Park, 39 Treese Road, Wadsworth, 2 AEDs are installed near the fields and 1 is located on the building. On Thursday, July 31st at 5 p.m., they're dedicating these AEDs to current and future soccer players. So if you have the opportunity, please support and attend that event as well. The Wadsworth Chamber Outing, it's that time of year again. This event sells out fast and furious every year. Mark your calendars. It is coming up on Monday the 4th. It's at Rawega Golf Club. Thanks to Vans Auto Service and Tire Pros for, again, offering title sponsorship. Contact the chamber office to be placed on the waiting list. Hey, I know better than to go off script or I'll get in trouble, so I am going to have to do a little reading. The Rosie Awards, I want to move on to that. I do have a little bit to read here because there's going to be a little bit of changes this year. A significant event of the Wadsworth Area Chamber of Commerce, the Rosie Awards honors and celebrates excellence by outstanding individuals, businesses, and organizations that make Wadsworth and Medina County a wonderful place to live, work, and play. The name Rosie Awards comes from historic rosebud matches produced by the Ohio Match Company right here in Wadsworth, a nod to our community's rich history. This year, the Chamber's board is revamping the Rosie Awards selection process slightly to make it more engaging and inclusive. Each Chamber representative will receive a list of Chamber members, a list of Wadsworth businesses, and a nomination form. Please review these resources and submit your nominations. Nomination forms are also available on the table. After nominations are submitted, the Chamber Committee will contact each nominee with details about next steps. Then, Chamber members in the community will vote to determine the top 3 finalists in each category. The top 3 vote getters will be recognized at the Rosie Awards celebration. For the first time ever, guests at the Rosie Awards will have the power to vote for the winner in real time. Kinda cool. After watching the finalist videos at the event, attendees can cast their votes right from their tables or phones. This exciting change adds a new level of energy and audience participation to our celebration, making this year's Rosie Awards more interactive than ever. We look forward to recognizing the incredible contributions that make Wadsworth thrive, help us honor our community's best by participating in the nomination voting process. I think you can see why I'm reading that. There's a lot of good information there, but the Rosie Awards with those changes, I want to make sure I nailed that. And that does sound pretty fun and cool, live interaction, kind of like, must-see TV event. Pivoting on to Women in Leadership. The Women in Leadership group meets on the second Monday of most months. The next meeting is August 11th at 12 noon, and it lasts till 1 p.m. This is hosted at Founders Hall, part of Summa Health Center on Leatherman Road. Guest speaker is Sarah Conrad, owner of Bartlett Cook Flower Shop. I personally was there this past 2 weekends ago to buy some flowers for my son's wedding. I highly recommend. The cost is $16 and includes lunch. Please RSVP to the Chamber by Friday, August 8th. Wadsworth Young Professionals. The Wadsworth Young Professionals, a community outreach of the Wadsworth Chamber, is taking a sabbatical from meetings during the summer months. Watch for more to come in September. Janie, I might think twice about volunteering for this again. I got another page here. Woo!
You're doing a good job.
Well, thank you. All right. So, I was talking about this next event at my table a minute ago and was remembering a fond memory. So, the Memorial Light Fest, for the second year in a row, the Chamber is going to, in partnership with the Wadsworth Public Library, Main Street Wadsworth, the City of Wadsworth, and Wadsworth City Schools, we're extremely excited to bring back Memorial Light Fest, the magical drive-through Christmas tree lighting at Memorial Park throughout the month of December. It was stated at my table that it's amazing how all of those departments can work together to come up with this type of a program. I mean, kudos to our community and all the departments that work together, and Janie for collaborating and coordinating. Last year's event was a great success. This year our goals are to make it even bigger and better. Information's available on your table about how you can become a tree sponsor. It was pretty cool to be out there with my family in the holidays decorating the tree for the bank. Pretty neat.
Karen?
Yes, ma'am.
I had to put those out on the table, so I'll get them later.
Okay, all right. Main Street Wadsworth. The next Main Street Wadsworth First Friday is on August 1st, starting at 5:30. If you've not been at one of those events, it's a must-do with you and your family. The theme is Flight Fest, Soaring to New Heights. Visit downtown and local businesses and restaurants. Enjoy the many activities. First Friday will feature Paradise, a Meatloaf tribute band. I mean, come on. Playing from 7 to 9, performing on College Street. The Main Street Wadsworth Farmers Market is also in full swing on Saturdays, 9 to 1, until September 27th at the CIS parking lot on Main Street. There's also Wednesday afternoon scheduled on August 13th, 5 to 8 p.m. That's kind of new, so mark your calendar for that. Wednesday the 13th, 5 to 8. All right, what are we doing today? All right, today's program, we hope you're enjoying the picnic in the park. Thank you to Drake's Barbecue. Let's give a bow to those guys. Fantastic. Mark that for your backyard catering picnic for sure. Today we are welcoming Nathan Eppink, Director of Medina County Park District for the past 7 years. He is the Chief Administrative Officer for the 8,900-acre Medina County Park District, whose focus is education, conservation, and the protection of natural resources. Celebrating 60 years, Medina County Park District holds 23 parks and nature preserves throughout Medina County. From wetlands and playgrounds to lakes and forests, there's something for everyone to enjoy on over 50 trails. Please welcome Nate Eppink.
Well, he covered everything. No, I'm going to start out with some good news, and this is science. If you eat barbecue in a park, it is health food. So we're doing something great today. No, but seriously, I want to thank the Wadsworth Chamber for inviting me to talk about 60 years of Medina County Park District and to highlight some of the things that we have planned for this year yet and in the next 10 years. I shared with Felicity this morning, Felicity, where are you? There you are. I shared with Felicity this morning that I could talk for 30 minutes or 3 hours. If we hit the 3-hour mark, I'm happy to be your work excuse. So this is a great day to be outside. So let's just kind of jump into it, and I'll leave some time, hopefully, for questions at the end. Medina County Park District was established April 19th of 1965. We are a political subdivision of the state of Ohio. Many times people assume or think that we're a nonprofit. We are not. We're a form of government organized under Ohio Revised Code. And this is our 60th year. So we have a lot of great things planned for this year and beyond, and I promise to touch on some of those. Yesterday, we announced that as an organization, we have surpassed 9,000 acres of protected land. Thank you. There's a great story in the Gazette today. That acquisition, it's 97 acres in Granger Township, north of the intersection of Medina Line and Medina Road, that's Route 18. There's a planned retail center with Menards as the anchor store. I first saw the concept for that in 2019, shortly after I started with the Park District as director. So we've been pursuing that for 6 years. That story is really all about persistence, partnerships, and preservation. The nonprofit West Creek Conservancy, based all the way up in Parma, they really led the charge with a grant application. We ended up acquiring those 97 acres and only paid about $460,000. The rest came from West Creek Conservancy and the Clean Ohio program. And I've got a couple other examples of how we really leverage local dollars to secure beautiful places. Earlier this month, July 4th, we opened our 23rd park, and by the end of this year, that number will be even higher. We have more than 50 trails, and I believe by the end of this year, we'll be able to say we have at least 60 trails. That's not 60 miles, that's 60 different trails. Included in that are a number of multi-purpose hike-bike trails that are asphalt or crushed limestone, so a lot of different opportunities in the Park District. It's amazing, I think, that we do all of that and more. We offer several hundred programs, mostly free every year, just with 5 programming staff. As a district, we only have 40 employees. So everybody's really good at multitasking. I've helped plant trees. I've done a lot of different things. And that's the case for so many of our employees. So I mentioned that we're a political subdivision. We have 3 park commissioners, so I have 3 bosses. I might be the director of the park system, but I report to a 3-person board. One of the commissioners is here today, Jason Venner from Clampco. Would you mind raising your hand? Jason is the newest commissioner on the park board. In September, he'll hit the 2-year mark, correct? 3? Time flies. Okay. Well, it's been a wonderful 3 years. I have 2 other commissioners. Dennis Neat, who was first appointed by the probate judge. Per Ohio Revised Code, the probate judge appoints the board members. Dennis Neat was appointed in 2007. and Kathy Davis was appointed in 2009. So we've got some good longevity on the board, some great institutional knowledge, some young blood and ideas, and we have a really good working relationship. How are we funded? Again, we're not a nonprofit. If you look at your property tax bill, there is a small tax that property owners pay into Medina County Park District. That's the case in 16 of the 17 townships in Medina County. If you own property in Hinckley Township, you pay into the Cleveland Metro Parks, because Cleveland Metro Parks got here first. They're over 100 years old, and Hinckley Reservation is the biggest park in Medina County. And I am allowed to go there. It's a great park. But the funding source for us primarily is that small real estate tax, and it collects just under $5 million a year. And that funds everything that we do, from land acquisition to capital projects, salaries, equipment. We are amazing at leveraging those local dollars and getting grants. Just since I started, my first day as director was October 1st of 2018. From that day to today, we, with help from several partners, have secured $14 million in grants for land acquisition, restoration, and trail construction. That's not me. That's all the staff. We don't have a grant writer. We do those things by committee, and several partners have helped us too. So we've been able to do a lot leveraging those local dollars, and many of those grants are reimbursable. So we have to fund a project up front. We have to have that $1 million on hand. Then we spend it down, and we might get $600,000 back from the state. So a lot of work goes into the acquisition and the development of parks that you see throughout the county. So our mission, I believe it was mentioned in the welcome. Does anybody know it by heart? Okay, I'll admit, I don't know it to the letter. But if you had to guess, you would say it's about education, conservation, preservation, right? Here's how I describe our purpose right now. Our role in Medina County is to preserve what people love about the county. We're preserving open space, we're preserving history. That means a lot of different things to many people, but really that's what it's all about. Everywhere you go, the county is changing, and we're trying to preserve those wild, special, natural places before it's too late. So, I mentioned we have 40 employees. I'm really proud of the work we do. Want to give you just a sample. This is 2024 by the numbers. Some of the amazing things that we did as an organization. Last year alone, we preserved more than 500 acres. Last year, our 3-person Natural Resources Department planted more than 12,000 trees. Now, those aren't all 8-foot trees. Some of them are little seedlings. But we put over 12,000 trees in the ground last year. We restored 119 acres last year. We offered 319 different programs. Again, that's our 5-person programming staff that's based out of our Nature Center in Sharon Township. We do rely heavily on volunteers. They help us manage invasive vegetation. They answer the phones. They help us with programs. Last year, over 10,000 volunteer hours were given or donated in the Park District. And who knows that we have our own police department? Okay, a couple of you. We do, and yes, they can write tickets. Our Park District Police, we have several officers who patrol the parks. If they're unavailable or if they're on a call, the Sheriff's Department assists, and we provide mutual aid to other departments as well. Last year in 2024, our officers patrolled over 60,000 miles. That's on foot, it's on bike, it's in vehicles, of course, but even by boat. We patrol Chippewa Lake very regularly. So I'm really proud of the efforts to preserve land, and I mentioned last year we acquired 500 acres. I became the director just under 7 years ago. And in that time, we have brought on almost 1,900 acres to the Park District. We're not just going out and buying anything, and we do that in a variety of ways when we're seeking out property. First, donations of land. Free is great. Within the last few years, we accepted our largest ever gift of land. You will come to know this property in a few months as the Rivendell Nature Preserve. It'll open in September. We were gifted just under 3 years ago 203 acres in Westfield Center and Westfield Township. There's a Westfield shout out for you. It is about a mile west of the Circle in Westfield. And it's our largest ever gift of land. The donor, this is one of the things that makes us really special. Her name is Dee Dee O'Neill. She called me the day after her husband passed away and said, "Do you want my property?" And she just told me and Natalie Peacock, our development coordinator. Natalie, would you raise your hand? We just met with Dee Dee several weeks ago. And Dee Dee said, my husband and I, we were thinking about leaving this property to the Park District in our wills, but I'm so glad that I did it when I did, because I've had so much fun working on the park with you guys. How special is that? So we've included her in the design steps. She is a native plant whiz, an expert. She has grown, hundreds of native plants for us to be planted in and around the trailhead. She's got a contractor friend who's donating labor for the picnic shelter. Really, really an amazing gift to the community, and you'll be able to experience that in September. Discounted purchases are always great. Here's a great example that you can look forward to hopefully next fall. We will be opening, we're targeting fall of 26 for what we're calling the Lodi Woods Nature Preserve. Lodi Woods Nature Preserve is right behind the Lodi Library. During COVID 2020, someone reached out to me and said, "We have this property, we bought it as an investment, but we've come to love it. Would you like to walk it? Are you interested? We'll sell it to you for basically what we owe on the mortgage." So we bought, I think it's 67 acres behind the Lodi Library for a bargain. We've got a relationship with the Medina County Public Library System, and we are going to use the library as a trailhead. So we don't have to put in a parking lot. We don't have to put in a restroom when the library's open. They've got great facilities there. We're basically going to put in some signage, a couple of stairs and footbridges, and build a trail. But we bought that at a huge discount because someone wanted to see the land protected. Grant contingent purchases have been huge. When you can't do free, a great discount and a grant-funded acquisition is the next best thing. Who's been to Allerdale Park in Granger Township? Okay, that's one of our more popular parks. That started in 1993 with a donation of 125 acres. Today, Allerdale is over 400 acres in size. Several years ago, we bought 105 acres for, wait for it, $19,000. 105 acres, which is Allerdale North. That's the very creative working title in my head. We bought that for $19,000 because we got a huge Clean Ohio grant. So the seller not only discounted the sale, but the grant from the Clean Ohio program basically gave her the money that she wanted, and we had to chip in less than $20,000 to make that happen. Lastly, partner-supported purchases. I kind of led off early by talking about the fact that we've surpassed 9,000 acres. West Creek Conservancy helped us on that latest acquisition. We've worked with them now 3 times, and I'm not really sure how they get the numbers to work. We very rarely pay them directly. They include their fees in a project. So a couple years ago, between 2 different park properties in the Lodi area, they bought 70 acres. They restored that property, and then they charged us a whole $75,000 for that property. So in the future, not only do we have a restored piece of land that was taken out of ag, and now we've got native plants and some wetlands on it, but we have the ability to build a trail on that property and connect two different park areas that otherwise weren't connected. So pretty remarkable, I guess, mix of ways that we can acquire and preserve land. So I mentioned 5 new areas opening this year. I did mention that, didn't I? So yes, sometimes it is hard to keep track. We opened our first of 5 on July 4th. It is the Zachary A. Weber Riverside Park in Valley City. If you Google Zach Weber, Valley City, you will see a couple of stories in the Gazette, Cleveland.com. Channel 5 had a really nice piece with video. Essentially, last year, about this time, I drove by this property. Today it's our smallest park. It's only 6 acres. But the sun was hitting it just right. I could see the Rocky River from Center Road. It's by Columbia and Center Road, right downtown Valley City. And I reached out to the owners. And several weeks later, the owner called me, and the conversation started out really, really rough. When I asked him how he was doing, he said, "Not great. Recently lost my son." And I said, "Well, we don't need to have this conversation now." And he said, "It's all I've been thinking about for the last few weeks." This was still very fresh. His youngest son passed away, youngest child at 21. And he said, "I want to know why you reached out to me about the property." And in the next 10 minutes, I described kind of my vision, how that could be really great for Valley City, what we would do there, access to the Rocky, kids turning over stones, people fishing for steelhead. He said, "I'll donate that to you if you name it after Zach." So Zach's birthday is July 4th. And I made the promise to the family earlier this year that we were going to open it on Zach's birthday. And we did, but it didn't transfer to us until March. So in what is in the political subdivision world, record time, we went through design, permitting, earthwork, construction in 4 months. And we opened that park for the family and for the community on Zach's birthday, Zach's 23rd birthday, and just coincidentally, it was our 23rd park. So really, really special. Lots of tears shed, lots of memories made, just amazing. So the next area that's opening this year is the Rivendell Nature Preserve. We're going to start out with an overlook of the Camel Creek, which is in Westfield Township. You're about 50 or so feet above the creek. Stunning views. It's going to have an overlook deck there, 2 fishing platforms at a pond, about a mile of trail, large picnic shelter. That's phase 1. Phase 2 in a few years, we'll punch into the woods, and there'll be several miles of trails there. That is opening the 3rd weekend of September. So that's area number 2. Area number 3 is also the result of a donation, the Shotwell Gardens at Lake Medina. Over several years, the Shotwell family in Medina donated 25 acres to us at the corner of Foote and Weymouth Roads in Medina Township. And I had first approached the family and said, I'd love to know what you're doing with this property. We'd love to have a 3rd park entrance with a real bathroom. And the family said, "We like it, but do better. What else could we do there?" So that got our creative juices flowing. We have some grant money for the project. The family has pledged some money for the project. And in October, we will be opening the Shotwell Gardens with some trails, all accessible, ADA accessible for wheelchairs, walkers, canes, strollers, people on foot. Some native garden space, a small amphitheater, small water feature there, and parking, a restroom, and connections to Lake Medina. So that's opening in October. Who's ever heard of Chippewa Lake? Okay, Chippewa Lake follows me pretty much everywhere I go throughout the state. If you are not aware, the reason so many people are aware of Chippewa Lake is really twofold. For 100 years, there was a picnic ground or an amusement park there on the eastern shores of Chippewa Lake, closed in 1978, and then for 40 plus years it sat abandoned. Yes, there was roller coasters and all kinds of rides and a Ferris wheel. Much of that is gone, but we still have a Ferris wheel. We still have the Tumblebug ride, which is kind of like a coaster. We have the children's roller coaster, and we have the remains of a ride called the Flying Cages, which was all people powered. You'd climb into the cage, sounds really safe, and then you'd rock back and forth, and you'd try to get yourself to go in a complete 360, which is not advisable after barbecue. So we do have remains of those rides, and in a few years, that phase of Chippewa Lake Park will be open to the public. This year, in October/November, we're opening phase 1 of the former amusement park with a trailhead, about a mile of trail off of Longacre Lane, next to a partner organization, the Chippewa Lake Historical Society. I guess that's one of the 17 or 16 in the county. And they have a few old rides and pieces out front. But that's opening October, November this fall. And lastly, we started the year with no presence in Liverpool Township, and we're going to end the year with 2 areas. The first is the Zach Weber Riverside Park. The second is Liverpool Meadows Nature Preserve. That is not even a mile south of Zach Weber. It's 104 acres, much different experience, but 104 acres, all restored, about a 1 mile stone trail through a meadow area and some glimpses of the Rocky before it gets to that Zach Weber property. So let's talk locally about Wadsworth. For the record, this is not one of our parks, not one of my parks, but Mayor Lawbaugh assures me that I'm not in enemy territory. We have a good relationship with the city. In fact, Holmesbrook Park is owned by the city, but we signed a 50-year lease agreement with the city in 2022 to operate it and improve it and basically manage it as a county park. When I started, that was important to me for us to have an open presence in one of the counties, or in all of the county's 3 cities. And Wadsworth was a glaring space on the map where we didn't have any parks or trails. So we signed the lease for Holmesbrook Park in 2022. It's 50 years. Already, we've dredged the pond there, and we've stocked it. We've done some shoreline work, and we've invested in a accessible fishing platform. This year, we repaved the parking lot. Our nonprofit, the Friends of Medina County Parks, have basically underwritten a open-air picnic shelter. It's smaller than this one, but it's nice. We still have some finishing work to do, a couple of picnic tables, some landscaping around it, but that's a new investment. We will soon be making repairs to the existing asphalt trail and extending that trail. So altogether, in 3 years, we're looking at an investment in Holmesbrook Park locally of about $250,000. So if you haven't been there in the last few years, please stop by and take a look at what we've done. So one of the things that I think makes our park district special, and I've already mentioned a few of our partners, is partnerships. Our donors are considered partners. If you donate land to us, and by all means, if you have land, I've got as much time as you need after this presentation. But the donors are considered partners. They help us in the planning process. I've inherited a lot of great partner organizations, but we've also strategically brought on some new partners in the last few years. First one that comes to mind is one of the first groups that I reached out to, and that's Feeding Medina County. That is our local food pantry, and they do a food distribution once a month here in Wadsworth. The one that we assist them with at Hidden Hollow Camp in Lodi was the first off-site food distribution event that they did. Before that, and that's 3 or 4 years now, before that time, you had to go to Feeding Medina County for basic needs, for groceries, for help. But now they do a lot of these off-site. So we offer them Hidden Hollow Camp at no cost. We've even had volunteer staff. I've allowed staff to go out and volunteer for a couple hours. And it's a different park experience, but just so rewarding to see the immediate impact that the park district can have on the community. So Feeding Medina County is great. The Chippewa Lake Historical Society, which I mentioned, they're a newer partner. With a lot of these, there's an educational component. So the Historical Society, they're leasing a house on park property. The trailhead's going next to that. They don't pay us anything for that lease. They get to use the house. They have to pay the utilities. They have to insure the contents. But in exchange for that sweetheart of a deal, they have to offer programs. And they're going to start out, once our park area is open, they're going to start out with museum hours, really kind of the peak season, May through October. So they'll have open hours on weekends where you can come in and see artifacts, postcards, souvenirs from the amusement park day, and learn a little bit more about the heyday of the amusement park, the 40s, 50s, and 60s. The Chippewa Yacht Club, that has been around since the 1930s on the eastern shore of Chippewa Lake. And I reached out to them before we even purchased the former amusement park. They were among the first to know. They are invested in that area, and we're often looking for alliances and friends. So we reached out to them, and we started out with a 20-year lease agreement. You get to keep your clubhouse. You get to use I think it's about 1.5 acres there. The catch is that we want you to offer some programs that we can't offer. So every summer, they offer water safety programs for youth, learn how to sail, learn how to kayak, those kinds of things. We do assist them, but they organize it, run the registration, and do an amazing job. Two others. Medina County Beekeepers Association, they're really the newest partner that we've brought on. They lease a small area off of Ballish Road in Westfield Township. This is on the west side of Chippewa Lake. But they had approached us several years ago. They have a couple of hives near Buckeye Woods Park on park property, and they wanted to establish a community bee yard. So for people who maybe live in an HOA, or they're not comfortable managing bees on their own, or for whatever reason they can't have a hive in their backyard, they are going to start a community bee garden or bee yard where you can get some guidance and you can maintain some bees. The catch with that lease, there's no cost, but and the bees really decide whether there's a surplus of honey. But when there is a surplus of honey, they're expected to give a portion of that to feeding Medina County. So that's pretty neat. Lastly, and probably the partnership that's drawn the most attention around the state and even parts of the country, is our partnership with Hope Recovery Community. We have, through partners, our friends of Medina County Parks, Hope Recovery Community, Feeding Medina County, we've established what we believe is the largest recovery farm in the country of its size or of its kind. And that just started out with a little seed of an idea and a chance opportunity. Stephanie Robinson and John Robinson are married. They are kind of the main forces behind Hope Recovery Community. Stephanie started that organization, and when it was about 4 or 5 years old, one of their funders said to them, "What's your dream? What do you want to do next?" And she said, "I'd really love to start a farm." Now, I've never met Stephanie and John, but coincidentally, 24 hours later, I'm reaching out to that funder saying, "Hey, I got a wild idea. We might be able to acquire a farm. What do you think about a recovery farm in the city?" How does that happen? That was meant to be. That still kind of gives me goosebumps. That the stars aligned, or, however you want to describe it. So they're now in this 3rd year of the recovery farm. It's just east of Medina Hospital on Route 18. And in year 1, there's 12 men that live in a home on the property in recovery, managed by Hope. Hope does not pay us anything for that property. What they do is maintain the property for us. We only have 40 employees. We can't do it all. So they have a 10-year lease to start. You manage the property for us, and you can use this house for housing. And you can also use the grounds for gardens. They have goats, they have a miniature horse, they have a donkey, they have chickens, they have bees. They have a lot of great things going on. And in year 1 of the farm, they donated 400 pounds of fresh, locally grown produce to Feeding Medina County. In year 2, they doubled it. No, they increased it to, was it 1,000? I think it was 1,000 pounds of fresh produce. And their goal this year is to even surpass that. So if you're at all intrigued by the recovery farm, watch in the next few weeks. We are hosting a public open house there. There will be signups required. That site doesn't have but just a few parking spaces. It used to be a house, a residential property. So we will need people to sign up. But it's the first Saturday in September, right? And you'll have a chance to hear the story of recovery, hear how the property came to the Park District and the Friends, and you'll get to pet a goat. So it's awesome. So I like to think that we are doing great work. I hear good things. But what do the people think? I have a lot of things saved up here, but I have to refer to some numbers here. So our nonprofit, the Friends of Medina County Parks, if you want information, if you'd like to become a member, there's a brochure, a couple brochures on the table. This year, the Friends reached out to a Akron-based polling firm, and they conducted a scientifically sound, statistically significant study, a poll of 500 Medina County residents. And they were asked questions about Medina County Park District and, kind of this point in time. So how are we doing? 96% of the respondents out of 500 had a favorable opinion of Medina County Park District. 95% said parks and trails are important. 92% said the Park District improves the area's quality of life. 92% said it's an important time to preserve land. And 88% said they feel safe when visiting the parks. So what should we focus on going forward? 15% of those respondents said, you got enough land. Just build us some new parks. Focus on what you have. 15%. 36% said, you need to preserve additional space. 49%, I'm going to round up to 50. Half of the respondents said, we want you to do both. We want you to protect land, keep doing the good things you're doing, but also build parks, build trails. So for me, that's clear direction. That's what people want. That's our bread and butter. That's why people support the Park District. So we do a lot with local dollars. Hopefully you've learned a little bit about that. Our funding, we leverage those dollars for grants. We do get some donations. I mentioned those grants are reimbursable many times, so we have to have funds up front. But many people are surprised to learn that there is no permanent funding for the Park District. We are funded by that real estate tax. And we will right now only be funded through the end of next year, the end of 26. So what does that mean? What do we do? Our board is in the process of passing several resolutions to appear on the ballot this fall. So we'll be on the ballot November 4th. And what we will ask for is a renewal of the current levy and a very small increase to continue to do the great work that people want, preserve land and build new parks and trails. Want to just touch on really quickly what we project, where we're going in the next 10 years, and then I'll open it up to some questions. So here's what the next 10 years include. And some of it's general, right? For those of you in the room who might be elected, you always underpromise and overdeliver, okay? So there's still some good things I'm going to share with you. First of all, we have to maintain what we have. People expect clean, safe parks, and that's what we deliver. We will continue to secure grant funding. Natalie's here with us, our development coordinator, to expand our philanthropic efforts. And again, I will happily take donations. I have a hat in the car I can pass around later. But those are critical to the mission of the Park District. We'll continue to acquire land in strategic ways. Again, we're not just buying anything or accepting donations of anything. There's a reason behind it. So we're looking at a couple things. Land that is adjacent to existing parks. Sometimes we're looking at land in communities where we don't have a presence. Other times it might be a rare species that's there, or the impact that the land could have, like the Zach Weber Park. It's only 6 acres, but the impact for Valley City, I know, will be amazing. And sometimes we're looking for land that can help make connections. So that brings me to the next point. One of the promises we intend to make is to build what I call the BMW, the Brunswick Medina Wadsworth Trail. So I know we can't use that name. I'm pretty sure it's trademarked. But realistically, that trail may go through Seville or another community, so we don't want a really long, cumbersome acronym. But building on some existing assets that we already have in Brunswick, Medina, here in the city of Wadsworth, we could potentially be that bridge to design a long trail, kind of Medina County's version of the towpath trail. The time to do that was maybe 30, 40 years ago, but the next best time to do it is now. So I'm not suggesting that in the next 10 years it's going to be built, but we will seek out opportunities for funding. We will look at existing assets, rights of way, utility corridors, different opportunities, and focus on designing sections to bring it all together. We will also be adding some new activities in the parks. We don't have archery in the park district. That's something that we've identified that could be a nice new amenity. Driving in here today, I saw disc golf in this park, but we don't have disc golf in our park district. And I've made the mistake of hiring a lot of people that love disc golf. So they're like, Nate, we need to do it. And that is a growing sport. So we've identified that as an opportunity. And mountain biking. We don't have a bike park or any mountain bike trails in the park district. And so we've been looking, and we think we have one location where we can fit a lot of those activities in there. We'll open some new parks and preserves. I mentioned the Lodi Woods property next year. There's a lot of other things on our radar. But then we'll also be opening new phases of areas that'll be open, by the end of this year. Chippewa Lake, Rivendell Nature Preserve, another phase of the Shoutwell Gardens. So there's a lot to be excited about in the future. I guess kind of in closing, I hope you agree that Medina County Park District is a benefit to the community, a real asset. We're one of the best, in my humble opinion, park districts in the state. And we're one of the things that make the county and this city, this community, great. So thank you for your time.
You are watching WCTV, Wadsworth Community Television.